What's good everyone? Welcome to my new special video, which is terrifying facts and most unexpected stories about world wars that will make you wish you knew more. Part 1. Stay with me as you watch these upcoming clips cause I guarantee that these will make you go wow, give you goosebumps, and the most essential thing which is to learn as well. But first, let me introduce myself. What's good everyone? It's your boy Treezy, and welcome to Treezy TikTok. Just because of that? Oh hell no, man. Are they for real?
Shocking war facts that school definitely didn't teach you, Part 1. During an 11-minute long standing ovation for Soviet leader Joseph Stalin, the first person to stop clapping was sent to prison. 68% of boys born in the Soviet Union in 1923 ultimately died due to World War II. D-Day was so violent that to this day, nearly 4% of all sand at Normandy Beach is made up of broken down shrapnel from the Battle of Normandy. The year before the start of World War II, nearly 3 million cars were made in the United States. However, factories were so focused on making war supplies that only 139 cars were manufactured in America over the course of the war. There are some Native Americans that sided with the Confederates during the Civil War, and some of them even owned slaves.
I felt bad for the 8 other people because we all know that slow death is the worst death to ever experience.
Shocking war facts that school definitely didn't teach you, Part 2. Before his presidency, George Bush Sr. served as a pilot during World War II. During the war, his plane was shot down in a bombing raid against Japan and everyone in his 9-man crew was captured, but luckily, he managed to escape. His fellow crew members were tortured, killed, and 4 of them were even eaten by Japanese soldiers. The youngest person to ever fight in the US military, Calvin Graham, was just 12 years old at the time of enlisting. He saw combat and was even awarded a Purple Heart Medal. But after being wounded, his true age was revealed and he was immediately discharged. In 1977, around 500 cars were mysteriously abandoned in a forest near Ardennes, Belgium. The source of these cars is heavily debated, but many believe that American and Canadian soldiers left them behind when they returned home from war. In 1776, a secret committee uncovered evidence that revealed that George Washington's bodyguard was planning to kill him. They then proceeded to execute him, and this secret committee would later become the CIA. In 1983, Soviet commanding officer Stanislav Petrov received a warning signal that indicated that there was an oncoming nuclear missile. However, Petrov felt that something was wrong with the signal and chose to disobey Soviet protocol, which required him to fire a missile immediately when a warning signal went off. It was later revealed to be a false alarm, but had he followed protocol and fired, a nuclear war would have broken out.
I don't have a single clue how that worked, but I guess we take those.
Shocking war facts that school definitely didn't teach you, Part 3. During a sea battle between Uruguay and Brazil, Uruguay was low on ammunition, so they made cannonballs out of stale cheese they had on board the ship, and this actually led to them winning the fight. Plastic surgery was actually created during World War II by a surgeon who fixed soldiers' faces who had been shot in the war. During the Korean War, a group of Marines were low on ammunition and codenamed the delivery Operation Tootsie Rolls. However, the radio operator misunderstood and sent a mass delivery of Tootsie Rolls instead. A lot of people know the story of Adolf Hitler, one of the most evil people in history to ever live. But less know the story of William Hitler, his half-nephew who fled to the US, served in the American Navy, and was even awarded a Purple Heart Medal.
Come on, bro. They are suspicious, man. That's just inhumane.
Shocking war facts that school definitely didn't teach you, Part 4. During World War II, Americans were so suspicious of Germans that German Shepherd dogs were killed. When he knew that he would soon be home from a battle, Napoleon would specifically request that his wife not bathe for several days until they had sex. Napoleon wanted a lady in the streets, but a stank freak in the sheets. During World War II, the tallest German soldier, who stood a staggering 7'6", surrendered to the smallest British soldier, who was nearly 3 feet shorter than him. Many of the men who died in the Civil War were listed as missing because they were killed by explosions that immediately turned them into red mist. With no remains left to identify them, these men are still considered missing in action.
29 years? 29 years and not a single clue that it has already ended. I'm sleep.
Shocking war facts that school definitely didn't teach you, Part 5. Although World War II ended in 1945, Japanese soldier Hiro Onoda didn't surrender until 1974 because he simply didn't know that the war had ended. In World War II, the USS O'Bannon came up alongside a surfaced Japanese submarine. The crew then threw potatoes at the Japanese, which mistook them for hand grenades, which gave them enough time to outmaneuver them and sink the sub. In 200 BC, General Hannibal led his army across the Alps, riding on elephants. Romans fought back by launching flaming war pigs, which scared off the elephants, leading the Romans to victory. After the British army bombed the Zanzibar royal palace and attacked the royal yacht, the Zanzibar Sultan surrendered just 40 minutes later, leading to the shortest battle in recorded history. German submarine U-1206 sank after its toilet overflowed.
I didn't know till now that when Red Skull took the Tesseract, it was based on a true story.
Shocking war facts that school definitely didn't teach you, Part 6. On June 20th, 1941, Soviet archaeologists uncovered the tomb of warlord Tamerlane, with the inscription, "Whoever opens my tomb shall unleash an invader more terrible than I." Just 2 days later, a man by the name of Adolf Hitler launched an invasion on the Soviet Union. In World War II, Disney issued out Mickey Mouse gas masks that were intended to make the mask look less scary for children. M-U-R-D-E-R-M-O-U-S-E. In the 19th century, a French warship washed up on shore in northern England with a monkey dressed in an army uniform. The town had never seen a French person or a monkey before and concluded that the monkey must be a French spy. So naturally, they tied a noose around its neck and executed the damn thing. Since 1776, America has been at war 90% of the time, 222 out of 245 years.
Wow. But bro, in what place on earth did he hid himself?
Weird War Facts, Part 1. On August 6, 1945, Tsutomu Yamaguchi was on business in Hiroshima when the first atomic bomb exploded. The blast ruptured his eardrums, blinded him temporarily, and left serious burns all over his body. 2 days later, he returned to his job in Nagasaki, and his co-workers called him crazy as he recounted the details of a single bomb destroying an entire city. Just then, a second atomic bomb was dropped nearby, wiping out most of Nagasaki, but Yamaguchi survived again. He is the only man who is officially recognized for surviving both nuclear explosions.
Wait, wars have rules? I'm confused. I thought everyone was supposed to go all out.
Weird War Facts, Part 2. According to the Geneva Conventions, if you play dead to kill an enemy in a war scenario, then you are committing a war crime. During World War II, it was common for soldiers to keep photos of their loved ones under transparent grips on their M1911 pistols. They were known as sweetheart grips. In 1973, the US Army developed an anti-tank grenade by hollowing out a Nerf football and filling it with explosive charges. However, the prototype never made it to the battlefield, since the explosives gave the ball a wild and unpredictable flight.
This is when love created bonds and friendships, bro. Much honor and respect for them.
Weird War Facts, Part 3. This is a group of teenage kamikaze pilots posing with a cute puppy on the day before their suicide missions, taken in 1945. This is what most of the trenches used during World War I look like today. At 4 a.m. on a Sunday morning, residents in the German town of Limburg woke up to the sound of a sudden blast. The next morning, they found a crater the size of a house in a nearby cornfield. Authorities soon determined that the blast was created by a 500-pound German bomb from World War II that spontaneously detonated.
I don't care what you say, but this one is mad genius. They are on a whole nother level, bro.
Weird War Facts, Part 4. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was shot in West Germany in 1970. Producers for the film had a hard time finding little people to cast as Oompa Loompas since so many of them had been killed by Nazis during the Holocaust. During the Cold War, CIA agents used a secret method of communication based on how their shoelaces were tied. In 2016, a Chinese man realized the object he had been using to cut open walnuts for 25 years was actually a live stick grenade from the Vietnam War.
Ain't no way that will work. That looks so dreadful and scary.
Weird War Facts, Part 5. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the US government issued Mickey Mouse gas masks in case of a chemical attack. The incentive was to make them appear less scary to kids, but most people don't think it worked. An atomic bomb cameraman accidentally ripped off his safety goggles a few seconds before the bomb exploded. He immediately covered his eyes with his hands, and when the bomb detonated, he saw the bones of his hands through his closed eyelids just like an X-ray. When the Soviet Union was pushing towards Berlin during World War II, a Nazi SS soldier was forced to play piano for his captors. They made it clear to him in sign language that he would be executed the moment he stopped playing. He played for 22 straight hours, after which he collapsed in tears. They congratulated him, then shot him.
Subscribe for a week of nothing but blessings and good vibes. That's a man of courage, bro. He out there inside the belly of the beast.
Weird War Facts, Part 6. In 1941, a Polish soldier named Witold Pilecki volunteered to be placed in a concentration camp to prove to the Allies that the Holocaust was real. While a prisoner at Auschwitz, he organized resistance movements and eventually escaped after 3 years of imprisonment. Until he escaped, little had been known by the rest of the world about how the Germans ran the camps, as they were thought to be internment camps or large prisons rather than death camps. In 1958, the U.S. Air Force lost a 7,600-pound hydrogen bomb in Savannah, Georgia. It remains unfound somewhere in the Wassaw Sound to this day.
These stories never fail to impress me.
Weird War Facts, Part 7. Ben Salomon was a dentist in the U.S. Army who was shot 24 times while defending a medical center against the Japanese during World War II. He died after killing up to 98 attackers and allowing the wounded to be evacuated. His Medal of Honor was delayed until 2002 because medical officers were not supposed to bear arms against the enemy. Also during World War II, American soldier John Fox died after deliberately calling an artillery strike on himself. Realizing that German troops were overriding his position, the strike delayed the enemy long enough for other American units to organize a counterattack.
This is Cap. And a matter of fact, this is an immaculate cap. Ain't no way, bro.
Weird War Facts, Part 8. During World War I, Hungarian soldier Paul Kern was shot in the head and lost part of his frontal lobe. However, instead of killing him, the gunshot otherwise made him unable to sleep. And as a result, the man stayed awake for the next 40 years until his death in 1955. A few doctors theorized that Kern likely fell asleep for seconds at a time throughout the day without even realizing it. Other doctors believed that the bullet tore away the part of his brain that needed to be replenished by sleep. But to this day, researchers still can't explain how he was able to survive for so long without sleeping.
One word. Karma.
Weird War Facts, Part 9. During World War II, a Nazi officer ordered his soldiers to hold their fire to allow for the rescue of an American soldier who had stepped on a landmine. When no one came for help, the officer went to rescue the soldier but stepped on a landmine himself. In 1964, the U.S. Army performed an experiment to see if 3 young physics students could design an atomic bomb. They had no specific knowledge of nuclear weapons and were only given access to publicly available documents. Within 3 years, they succeeded. Over 160 years ago, a Frenchman and a Russian shot at each other during the Crimean War and their bullets collided.
The first one, bro, I guarantee that he will make you laugh, bro. You just don't know what to do, man. You got caught up with everything.
Weird War Facts, Part 10. During World War II, Yang Kyung-jong was a Korean soldier who was captured by the Japanese and forced to fight the Soviets. He was then captured by the Soviets and forced to fight the Germans. Eventually, he was captured by the Germans and forced to defend Normandy, where he was finally captured by Americans and sent to a prison camp. He is the only known soldier to have ever fought on 3 sides of a war. During World War II, many zoo animals in Germany were taken care of by civilians in their own homes. In 1961, the US Army accidentally dropped a hydrogen bomb on North Carolina. The bomb was 260 times more powerful than the nuke dropped on Hiroshima. Only a single switch prevented it from detonating.